Welcome
Sarah
to
Louise. That should have been my middle name.
Yes, Sarah Louise Whitney Rice.
Yes.
It suits you.
Yeah. I can't wait to get my last name Rice back.
I know. It's a big production.
Sure is. I just am now just slowly changing everything back to Rice. And like, I'll be like, I'll do the legal stuff last.
I feel like it should be not as big of a deal. And it should be kind of like Princess Consuela and Banana Hammock or whatever crap bag that they did on Friends when Phoebe and Mike wanted to like change their names.
Oh, right.
Do you remember that one?
Yes. At first I was like, wait, what the hell is she talking about?
I was like word
I'm
salad.
not familiar with
Stringing words
Yeah.
together. No, but I just feel like changing your name should not be such a big production.
Yeah.
Especially when it involves marriage and divorce. Come on, let's automate this crap.
Right. I know. It's a whole big thing. But, how are you
One
doing?
of these days. I'm okay. We're just over here. Keeping
here.
healthy, staying sane.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for my outdoor space. I wish I could give some to each of you if you don't have any.
Yeah, I'm jealous of that as well.
Yeah, I know. I think about you. By the way, Bo was going to have surgery. Did that happen yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
I went and I took her to my cousin who's a vet, shout out to Holly, at the Topanga Clinic, or Animal Clinic of Topanga. And it was really cool because I was born in Topanga Canyon, so it was the first time I had like gone back there since I was like a little kid. And it was I was like, oh my God, I remember all of this. It was really cute. But yes, so she was like, oh, yeah, you should go. You know, she does more, smaller surgeries and things like that and more just like regular vet checkups and not like the big surgeries because she's not a surgery center. So she was like, yeah, she's got to go in and she's got to have it, her like half of her ear removed just in case it's a good idea to kind of get all of it just in case, so they get all the margins, as they say. So she's going to have her little ear. She's probably going to have like half of her ear taken off, but
and she'll get one of those cones.
Yeah. So she had the surgery scheduled for tomorrow, but the doctor got injured or like broke it. Like something happened where the doctor injured themselves or had an accident and is out for 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That gives me pause.
Right. Then I was like, whoa, is maybe there another reason?
PAWS.
Right.
Get it?
Oh my God. That was cute.
But maybe they won't give her the cone though, because if it's her ear.
Well, they have to do a whole bunch of weird taping of it so she doesn't shake her head. And it's kind of, that's why because they can shake like that, ears is a really hard one. And I know this because I've tried to tape it myself a million times, no matter what I use. I mean, I have like used an entire roll of tape to tape up her ear when she'll like scratch at it. And, in 2 seconds, she just shakes it and it's off. So I'm like, okay, for Pete's sake. So I just put the cone on her and it's fine. The cone of shame.
Well, thoughts and prayers to Bo.
Yes. I mean, she's still happy and healthy and wagging her tail like it's nobody's business. But yeah, the good news is they had quoted me because she needs a little teeth cleaning, and they like to do that when she's under anesthesia. And they had quoted me like $1,000 to do it. And my cousin has a woman at her office who is like an animal whisperer and can do all of the teeth cleaning without any anesthesia and just like talks to the animal and relaxes them and can do it with like feral cats. Like this woman is like like my aunt was like, I've never seen anything like it. And so my cousin was like, oh, and Bo is a perfect candidate for this because she will just roll on her back and she will have it done in 2 seconds, no problem, out the door. It's like, yeah, do that. Great. So she'll have her little teeth cleaned and, Bo's getting better health care than all of us right now. So
That's
it's crazy.
So true.
It's really funny.
Aww,
yeah, but she's happy. She's super happy. And she's like, oh my gosh, I read the cutest thing. And I don't know if this is real because it was on the internet, but it made me laugh and it was adorable. Somebody said that, now that they've been home all the time, their dog is so happy, and their dog's tail was just like wagging like crazy. They couldn't even believe it. And then like a week later, they were noticing that their dog's tail wasn't wagging anymore, and the dog was like looking kind of sad. So they took the dog to the vet, found out the dog sprained its tail from wagging it so much.
I saw that.
Is that not the cutest thing? I
feel like it's false.
I don't care. I'm gonna believe it. I don't want to live in a world where that's a fake story.
That's adorable.
I need it to be real.
I do think
Yes.
doggies are very happy everybody's at home with them.
Yes. Oh, and I have a little update from our last episode. Remember how we were talking about the preference of male's preference in underwear type?
Yeah.
I was like, well, I got to ask Ren. So I said to him, okay, so if I had like, it was me and I would lined up in like the same, pair of underwear, like which one would you like? And he was like, well, I don't know, and he said, he gave the best answer. He was like, well, I like whatever you feel the most comfortable in, And then he said, I feel like if you asked a junior high boy, he would have an answer. But a grown-ass man doesn't care. And I was like, good answer.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of getting at when I was like, they don't care because what they care about is like your enthusiasm and your sort of sexual energy, not necessarily what you have on.
Yeah, and he was like, if it were ever like you were, wanted to know what I liked, he would want me to wear what I liked the best.
It's a good man.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay. Go continue.
Watch, I'll ask Adam, and he'll be like, thong.
Yeah, he's like, I need to be
100%.
red in lace, thong, come up right here, preferably with the soft shell cup and demi-bra. That'd be hilarious.
Right? Like, he'll have all these specifics.
Yes.
And then I'll be like, well, Ren said.
Well, it's funny because sometimes I'll be like, well, Adam said, So we could use that back and forth. I'll allow it.
I have a question, and this is just because I never see you, so I can't ask you like the normal day-to-day stuff that I would usually ask. And so now we're just doing it on the show.
Yeah.
Why does it annoy me that when people use the phrase like so-and-so is a beast? I don't like it. I don't like when things catch on and then they become the sort of casual parlance for no reason.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think.
Okay. So what is it that you don't like about it? When I say, so if say we're talking about, who comes to my mind? Like Tori from The Challenge. And we're like, new Tori. And we're like, oh my gosh, Tori from The Challenge, she's a beast. What comes to your mind when you say that? When I say that?
Well, I know what they're getting at, but it feels like, when something becomes hyperbole or cliche.
Yeah.
Then it sort of ruins the intended meaning.
Yeah. Well, I feel, and it is
everybody
overused
uses
on The Challenge.
it all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same with, there were a bunch of those phrases on The Challenge that I just couldn't stand. Like when they would say trim the fat, that became a thing. Or at the end of the day, or, like those ones. I was like, oh, for Christ's sake, can we get another phrase? And then, it just becomes repeated over and over and over.
And for a while it was goat, he's the goat.
Yep.
And it's always a boy that they're talking about. And then
Sometimes
the beast thing.
Though. I don't know.
About the goat?
Yeah, you're right. They probably wouldn't say that about, not as often.
Maybe we would.
Yeah, we would. Yeah.
But the beast thing just feels like, what are you getting at? That she's tough, that she's strong?
I don't know. I'm going to say I kind of like that one because I also think that's one that's not gendered.
Yeah.
Because you say oh, she's a beast and he's a beast, and it's like it's the same idea, and it's not like she's a beast for. Like, I feel like better about that one than like Battle Axe and other ones like that.
Yes, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I just don't like it when it's applied to anybody. Maybe it's just because it's overused.
Overused, yeah, for sure.
That they're not a beast; they're just like a strong person.
You got to think of a new word. Susie, you got to invent a new word.
Okay, I'm going to work on it because now we're doing our, on Patreon we have our weekly viewing of the challenge, which you guys should watch along with us because it's hilarious. And they use these phrases all the time. It's what you're saying, where they become like the sort of reality TV competition jargon.
Yeah. Is there any, because I think I like the word because I feel like, when in certain moments of, my challenge career, maybe somebody would have called me that, and that I would wear as like a badge of honor. And so I wonder.
And what would it mean to you?
Like,
ooh,
I was tough. Yeah. And so, I'm wondering like, if there's, like, do you feel like somebody would call you a beast?
No.
Okay, so maybe that's why you don't like the word, because you were like, oh, maybe it doesn't apply to me.
No, No,
I don't know.
Not it.
Well, I'm trying to think of analyze this and go therapist route. So I don't do this with you, Suze.
Because I'm pissed.
She's
every
like,
time
no,
you
that's not it. It's not
That's
because
stupid.
it's something that I cannot relate to and I reject that for myself. It's not that.
The thing is, I if we're going by the way people intended, I am that.
You are a beast.
But no one would call me that.
Maybe
because they
that's
have a
it.
particular...
So maybe you're just angry that
No.
nobody's called you a beast.
Fuck
Susie,
no,
you're a beast.
I don't... Sarah, I am not wishing for that. I can assure you, I'm pretty self-aware.
Yes, you
and
are.
I know what I crave, and that ain't it.
That ain't it. No. Oh, that's
But
funny.
maybe our listeners will know why it bothers me.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a fun one to explore, though, because
because it makes no sense, and who the fuck cares?
I'm just trying to think about things that I like that bug me.
You're not easily annoyed, though.
Not by words like that, I think.
But I've already talked about this. I get annoyed anytime something becomes cliche. Mm-hmm. I've already talked about how I hate when women say, so-and-so's in my tribe, or whenever they refer to each other as mama. I hate all that subculture. So it's not just the beast thing. It's everything anyone ever says.
You're I hate any of the whatever the popular terms are.
Stop talking to me.
Anything getting added to Webster's dictionary this year is on my list.
That is exactly right. I don't like when anything catches on.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, let's move on. I'll move on, okay? Fine. Okay.
Hey, you know what? If you got stuff, hey, this is the place to air out and this is a safe place, basically.
Thank you,
That's what
Sarah.
I'm saying. Safe
Appreciate
place.
that.
Yes.
Okay. I am reading this book called The Body, A Guide for Occupants by the legendary author Bill Bryson. And he is one of my favorite authors. I just adore him. And I'm about, a third of the way in, but I have to read a few things to you because,
please.
Holy crow. Okay. So it's by section. Mm-hmm. So they start with whatever, microbials, and then they go to the brain and then the head and all this stuff. Okay, so under the microbials, which was particularly disturbing because that's what we're all dealing with the virus, it was talking about how in Britain there was a research facility that was that existed until 1989, and they were trying to find the cure for the common cold, and they, of course, failed. But they did, in the process, do some really cool studies. And let me read you one of them.
Oh, I love this. I love a study.
Okay, so they conducted an experiment where they had a volunteer fitted with a device that leaked a thin fluid from his nostrils to simulate a runny nose. And the volunteer then socialized with other volunteers kind of like a cocktail party thing. Mm-hmm. And unknown to any of them, the fluid contained a dye visible only under ultraviolet light. When they switched the light on after the mingling, the participants were astonished to discover the dye was everywhere.
It's crazy, those studies.
On the hands, the head, the upper body of every participant, glasses, doorknobs, sofa cushions, bowls of nuts, everything. And that was astonishing, even though we know that that's how germs work. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine if you were one of the minglers and then they turned that fucking light on?
Oh, my God.
And it's all over you?
Oh. Yeah.
And it's just a runny nose, man.
Oh, my gosh.
So, you're welcome.
Is it... So...
Sleep tight, everybody.
Is it that he wipes his nose and it gets everywhere? Or is it that just having...
Basically, yeah, that we all touch our face constantly.
Oh, my God,
and
all the time.
It just goes from one to the next to the next to the next. It's exponential, and... That's how it goes.
Oh, my God.
So, that's disgusting. Does that disturb you, though?
I mean, the thing is it does when you think about it, about something like what we're going through right now. But I also think, germs have always been around. They do serve, we have to look at the other side of the coin, that they do serve, your exposure to certain things does help build your immune system. There are benefits to small amounts of exposure to certain things. We don't want to live in a bubble. We know that it's not healthy either. Mm-hmm. So I think, we just have to have an awareness. We just have to do what we can. and like, wash our hands and keep immune systems up and things like that. But like, that's just like being a human.
Yeah, I don't like being a human.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I've learned.
It is kind of like, I remember there was like, I went through, I don't know what it was, but like I had this like period of about 6 months where I was like, oh my God, there's boogers on everything. I don't know, like just
I remember
mucus on everything. It like freaked me out, and I was like, I can't touch anything. There's boogers everywhere, and and then I was like, I gotta let this go. So like I go, and sometimes that's just anxiety over other things that we just like project onto whatever the thing in front of us that is easy to point to is.
I mean, as you know, I'm not fussy about this stuff. I wear shoes in the house. I do all the things they tell you not to do. So it's not like I'm prone to fear about these types of things, but I really just I pretty much don't ever want to know anything that has to do with one of those lights, those lights that show you like the semen on the hotel bed covers and stuff. I don't want that.
Nope, don't need to know. Yeah, I'll just pretend. Blech. That's why I hate mysterious wetness, because you could see it.
These are ways that you can get sick, but one way that you can take better care of yourself is by using Ritual vitamins.
Oh, amen. This is definitely what you should be doing right now. Come on.
Do it.
For like a million reasons.
I keep thinking about that. Yeah, because just the way that you have to eat right now is different than maybe you would otherwise. And I've noticed it with myself that when I take my Ritual vitamins, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling real good about this because I need all the help I can get. And Ritual is great, as you guys know, because it smells and tastes like mint. And most importantly for me, it is gentle on an empty stomach. And so it's time released, and it doesn't give you that feeling of, oh my gosh, I took my vitamins and now I'm going to puke, which was a constant problem for me and why I never consistently took vitamins before. So daily changes can lead to big results. So start small today. Ritual is offering our listeners 10% off your first 3 months. Try it out. Satisfaction guaranteed. Go to ritual.com/braincandy to start your Ritual today. That's 10% off during your first 3 months at ritual.com/braincandy. It's vegan, certified, non-GMO, has high quality ingredients, and I really recommend it. And I would tell you otherwise. It's great.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so the next thing I want to read to you from the book. I just thought this was kind of cool because I never thought about it before.
Yeah.
It was just talking about how, like, no matter what color your bar of soap is, like, the lather is always white.
Oh, my gosh.
I thought that was interesting.
That's weird.
Yeah, it was just saying how it isn't anything to do with, like, the molecular structure of the soap or anything like that. It's just simply that foam reflects light in a different way. And the reason that they brought it up is...
this is cool.
Yeah, they were just talking about how, so much of what you think you see is your brain filling in the gaps.
Yep, 100%.
And that things are subjective and, like whenever you do those optical illusions and things where like you stare at a picture and then you look at a white wall and then you see the picture on the wall.
Yep.
That's from your eyes and your brain trying to figure out like what's happening, and your eyes are tired from the photoreceptors, and then
so cool.
It's just awesome. That's why I love this book actually, is because you have such a sense of how powerful and amazing the human body really is.
Yes. I was staring out my window the other day, and, just like, I think it's because I've spent a lot, obviously so much time indoors, and your eyes kind of just adjust to that sort of light that's much dimmer than being outside. So I was outside and, just sitting on my porch or my balcony, like staring out at the street. And I had my sunglasses on, and I look at it was like, I was staring at the street, and there was a place like there was in my eye line right in the distance where if I move my head up, even just 1 centimeter, I can see the white crossing line, like the white of the crossing line on the road. Mm-hmm. And if I lowered my head a little bit, it would disappear. But if I split the difference and was just halfway up, the line was wavy. The line looked like it was moving. So like, when you look on a hot day, you look out at the street and there are like those like,
Steam.
it's not even steam. It's almost just like the heat makes the...
Well, yeah, but it looks like that.
Yeah, it's like, it makes it look like wiggly. Like it somehow distorts I don't even know what it is. Somebody smarter than me knows exactly what I'm talking about. I'm sure there's a name for it. And I was like, oh, is that what's going on? Is it because the pavement's hot? So then I looked at the temperature and I'm like, it's 63 degrees outside. That's not it. So like it must be my brain trying to fill in the gap from where I can see it, then I can't see it, then I can see it, then I can't see it. But it's such a thin line on the road from the distance where I was that it would just look like it was like moving or like pulsing or vibrating. And I was like, that's so weird because it looks like the street is moving. And so my brain, but this, things you do when you're bored and you're staring out. So like I totally had that like optical illusion. And it's funny that you bring that up because I had like a good 15-minute moment of like just mindfulness and being present, staring out the street.
I am all for having moments of wonder.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
I think that's the beautiful thing. And we really don't do it that much anymore. So maybe that's the silver lining.
Yes, absolutely. The silver lining that looks like it's vibrating when you look at it from a different
right,
distance.
it's all wavy.
It's all wavy. Yeah, it's so funny you say that because, I probably wouldn't have had one of those kind of reflective, like contemplative thoughts about that if I didn't, I would have filled my time with like some errand or something like that. So, yeah.
It's just weird how, though, as I said, the book made me appreciate the amazingness of the human body and brain. But then in other ways, you see like the foibles of human behavior. Like, how they talk a lot about how you can kind of implant memories?
Yep.
That's fucking weird, man.
I know. Or how about like our memories of before a certain time? A lot of them are just memories of pictures we've seen of things where we've created a memory around it from stories and things like that. It
bothers me because it feels like what is the evolutionary benefit of that? Because there must be one that helped us survive along the way. But they were talking about how they will do these studies where they convince people that they've been in a hot air balloon and they met Bugs Bunny at Disneyland, like all these very specific things that you would definitely remember, but we don't. We believe them.
That just makes me think of Ren and I were talking about the Mandela effect the other day. Introduced him to that concept. I still am like blown away by it, and it gets me every time because
Tell the listeners in case they don't know.
So the Mandela effect is this strange, I guess you can call it a cultural phenomenon, like a sociological phenomenon where large groups of people have different collective memories of things than other people. So there's, groups who have a very specific memory of Nelson Mandela dying, but he was alive at the time. Or the big one for me is the spelling of Bernstein Bears. It was not spelled like that, but I definitely remember seeing it like that. And there's a whole bunch of them. Like the other one that was like the Fruit of the Loom logo. What does the Fruit of the Loom logo in your mind have on it?
In my mind, it's just like a big pile of fruit.
Does it have a cornucopia or no?
Let me think. No.
Okay. Well, in my mind, it does, and it never did. So I was like, maybe I'm from the other dimension.
I mean, maybe. If anybody were from another dimension, it would be you.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, just like my whole family, my mom, she's like still halfway there in that other one. Maybe all the way. Who knows?
Right, but like in the best way.
In the best way. Oh my gosh,
not a bad
absolutely. Thing. I mean, she's so good at that. Like anytime I'm like, I wasn't feeling so well the other day, and she called me and she was like, "Here's the deal. You are the author of your own story. Your mind is the most powerful thing. If you say that you are feeling good, you are feeling good, and you just will that feeling like right out of you." And
what do you think of that?
I did that, and I felt fine the next day. So
see, because you know how I study the prosperity gospel, and that's the idea. It's like a religious version of the promise or the secret or whatever you want to call it. So
but I don't have to pay anybody for this.
Yeah,
it's
you
just
got it for
powerful
free.
Thinking,
Yeah.
And I think our brains
if it gives
really
you comfort, then that's great. And if it works, even better.
Yes, absolutely. It's kind of like filling in those gaps, but with the stuff that you want to fill it in with, not the automatic stuff.
Yeah, right.
That may not be the
Pick
right
the
info.
goodies.
Yeah, you got to be in control.
I find it really weird, though, like when I was reading through these and you start to see the kind of like anomalies of the human experience and how there's pretty much a syndrome for everything. Like there's this one syndrome where people are blind, but they refuse to believe it.
What?
It's called the Anton-Babinski syndrome.
What? Tell me more.
It just says the inescapable fact is that the brain is in an unnerving place as well as a marvelous one. There seems to be an almost limitless number of curious or bizarre syndromes. And then it listed the Anton-Babinski syndrome is a condition in which people are blind but refuse to believe it.
Oh, my God. Well, so then what is their experience? Do they see in are they able to somehow navigate the world because of that?
Or do they think we're all lying? That maybe they think it's false that we can see or something.
Well, there's a great podcast at what was it called? Invisibilia that NPR put out years ago, and I think they have a few seasons now. But there's one episode called like, "Do we need our eyes to see?" Okay. Or it's like makes that argument. I think it might even be called Becoming Batman or Being Batman or something like that. But it was a lot of these kind of cases of people arguing that, like, do we really need our eyes to see? And there are people like this who are functioning in the world and kind of like seeing or interpreting their world in different ways. And yeah, it's just interesting.
It's creepy.
I love it.
Another one was like Riddock syndrome. Victims cannot see objects unless they are in motion.
What?
Well, that sounds terrible.
Oh my gosh.
And what the hell would that be from?
Oh my gosh.
Capgras syndrome is a condition in which sufferers become convinced that those close to them are imposters.
That one I've totally heard of. That's a crazy one. No, there's a great book out there called The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat. That's by
Oliver Sacks.
Yes,
Oliver
Sacks, and he is the one. I think he's a psychiatrist, I believe, that they based the movie Awakenings off of. And if you have not seen the movie Awakenings, oh my God, see it now. It is so good. Have you seen this, Susie?
No.
Oh, you will love it. It's with Dennis Hoffman, I think, and
wait, who?
No. Isn't that his name?
Hopper?
No. Dustin Hoffman. Oh my God, I'm the actual worst. I remember everything else about the details of the actual scientist, but I can't remember the friggin' actor's name. So it was a bunch of people who were in a catatonic state, and they believed that they were, kind of like they had this locked-in disorder. And he discovered that if you throw an object at them, they'll catch it. And so they are awake in there. And it's the coolest movie. You have to see it. But he wrote this book about all of these bizarre cases of people who have brain injuries in very, very specific places that cause these kind of things. Like a man who really thought that his wife was a hat.
Yeah. It's sort of sad, but it's also very fascinating.
And these are the anomalies that teach us so much about the brain. Mm-hmm. And about, it's like the things when there's something wrong that we're able to learn more about how it functions when things are working right.
This is why this is the same argument kind of that I was making about Tiger King, is that most people think it's low-hanging fruit. It's just sort of gross reality type television. But for me, it's like a funhouse mirror to help you see your own humanity and the human condition. And that's another example is what you're describing, where something is out of the ordinary for the typical human experience, but it can show you a lot about your own.
100%. Yeah.
I was also wanting to mention how it was talking about how faces are so important for the human experience, and that we're, even as newborn babies, we prefer faces and things like that. Mm-hmm. But how if you show people a picture of a celebrity and you remove their eyebrows.
Oh, yes.
They have a harder time knowing who it is than if you remove their eyes.
What? I mean, I know that this is true because I've seen these articles, but it still blows my mind, and I still can't believe that you need the whole face, that you need the eyebrows God, they serve a purpose. Maybe it's because they're so expressive.
Maybe.
But so are the eyes. I mean...
Right. Windows to the soul mean nothing to you people.
Right.
And then it said that's one of the reasons the Mona Lisa looks so enigmatic is that she has no eyebrows.
Right.
I never thought about that.
I did not either. Now, was that a fashionable thing of the time to pluck all your eyebrows out?
I mean, I guess it's possible, but like, I am not familiar with that trend.
Me either. No, me neither. Yeah,
one trend I am definitely familiar with, though, is brushing your teeth.
Yep.
I
Very
am all
important.
aboard that train.
And with all this time, I'm taking the full 2 minutes and doing it 3 times a day. So my dentist is going to be like, your teeth are looking phenomenal.
My son told on my husband and said he does not wait the whole 2 minutes before he turns off his Quip toothbrush.
Oh, my gosh.
I was like,
little tattletale.
Yep. He was like really...
Tell them what happened
oral health
to snitches?
Well, regardless, if you want to do the full 2 minutes, Quip has you covered because Quip toothbrushes have the sonic vibrations. So it vibrates, and then every 30 seconds it pauses and tells you to, switch sides. And you can store it on your mirror because the little holder mounts to your mirror and looks super chic and cute, not like those old-timey, hideous ones that took up half your vanity.
Right.
And then they send you the replacement head every 3 months because that's what the dentist wants. And I keep thinking about that, how like we need to make sure we're keep taking care of our bodies, our teeth,
absolutely.
everything.
It's really important.
For like you don't want to have to go unnecessarily to the doctor or the dentist.
Hey, and they got a new floss thing out now.
What is it? I wanted to know about that.
Yeah, it's like a little tool that helps you floss, and you can reach all those hard to reach places.
Well, I'm all for that.
I know.
I'm very passionate about flossing.
Me too. And I used to floss when I drove in the car, so now I need to do it at home and incorporate that into my ritual a little more.
Carve out some time.
Exactly.
If you go to getquip.com/braincandy right now, you'll get your first refill for free. You get your first refill free at getquip.com/braincandy, spelled GETQUIP.com/braincandy. Quip, the good habits company. I love a good habit. I'm very routine, so maybe I'm weird, but...
No, you're not weird. That's the best thing to be. We love that.
Yeah, right. Thank you. I'm stable, everyone. Jeez. Get off my back. Okay, so those are my things from that book. Now I want to talk about how I'm all worked up because I was reading about how, the subway in New York, the MTA is a very popular place to advertise. And I had read this article about the double standard of like the MTA allowed all these ads about erectile dysfunction, but they wouldn't let things.
Oh. What?
The period underwear.
Oh, I'm so mad. I love those.
Yeah, or like sex toys because they say, it's too sexual. But then you think about all the ads, even for like beer and cars.
There's so many sexual like innuendos. It's like I feel like that's all the ads on the New York subway are.
It's just tits.
Yeah. And then there are reminders to get tested and STD testing.
That's true. But it's like whenever it's a man, it's fine and it's anatomical. Dumb. But whenever it's a female, it's like, that's too sexual.
And they're like, oh, nobody wants to think about periods while they're driving. We don't want to think about your freaking erection and their inability to get it up while I'm taking the train either.
Right, because the Thinx ads were just, I guess, visual innuendo. Because they were just like fruit. And I think one was like an egg.
Oh, my God.
And they, they're
so
implying something. But it's not even explicit. It's just implicit.
Who are these jerks making these decisions?
So they have like I guess a committee or a board or whatever.
Karens.
Who decides. I think it's Karen's husband.
Oh, you think it's Karen's husband?
Yeah, because dudes are like,
yeah.
Basically, they want women to be super sexual unless it benefits the woman.
We need to have a name for them. Because, like, we can't just be, like, calling Karen's husband because that's, like,
maybe
a
Roger.
negative thing. Oh, a Roger. Mm-hmm,
Charles.
Mm-hmm. Charles.
What do you
think? Who else would be, like, an annoying guy's name?
Gary.
Gary. Fucking Gary. See, it's totally a Gary. Gary or a Jerry. Interchangeable. Gary.
Right? Gary's like,
Yeah.
oh, no.
Gary
we
or a
can't have
Richard.
titties.
Yeah. But he doesn't go by Dick because that would be too sexual.
They allowed ads for boob jobs.
Okay. It
Yeah.
is her husband. Fucking A, Gary.
And even the Museum of Sex was allowed to
I'm so annoyed.
do an MTA. But like periods are icky to them.
This
and
is the
sex
problem.
toys are too, we don't need a man if we have a toy.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. And I'm super
happy.
ragey about it.
Right. Me too. I mean, I'm glad. I think that Thinks or somebody else sued the MTA
Good.
about it.
I'm
maybe things will change.
I'm on board. Not with the MTA, though.
Oh, one thing that has lifted my spirits, which is that the New York Post did an article saying that a study of dementia patients found that exercise made it worse.
What?
I mean,
That's wonderful news. No, I'm kidding.
it kind of is. I mean,
Wait,
not really,
exercise made it worse. Now, there's got to be
increased.
a certain point. Like, I feel like it's like preventative, but then maybe once you already have whatever that is, then there's, tell me more. There's got to be.
Yeah, maybe you're right because it was all the patients were already dementia patients.
Yeah.
But those who exercised, their rate of decline was faster than those who were more sedentary.
Okay, so maybe it has something to do because I remember reading that it's linked to some protein in the brain.
That diagnosis.
Yeah. That, or we were talking about something else, some other article a while ago about the things that can prevent Alzheimer's, and it was a protein or something like that. So maybe that there's something about exercise burning up that kind of protein. And so unless you have a lot of whatever that is, like a stored amount of that, then that gets depleted. Interesting.
I really would not have ever predicted
Never,
that,
ever.
though.
And is there a certain kind of exercise? Like, is it just cardiovascular? Is it muscles? Like, is it,
I don't think it's specified in the article.
This is really, that totally
pictured it
goes
to be
against
cardio.
everything I would think.
Right, because brain health, I mean, it just goes without saying that exercise improves that stuff.
Yeah, but then they also, like, if you pair that with the article that also talks about how wine decreases, like, the risks. So really we're just supposed to drink and do nothing. So it looks like I'm doing real good. I'm taking preventative measures already for my brain health right now.
Isn't that crazy?
Crazy. Oh, Suze,
And this is
coming
the
in
thing.
strong with the article on human body facts today. You're really blowing my mind.
But that's the thing is, like, we have so much to learn still.
Oh, yeah.
About what is going on in our bodies, and it's very hard to test. I mean, I read this other article about salt intake, which I'm very passionate about.
Yes, you are, as am I.
I'm a salt fiend. I mean, I know that I have a problem. I admit it. But there is discrepancy amongst studies. Some say this is obviously bad. It raises your blood pressure, blah, blah, blah. And then others say absolutely not. We need salt and stuff like that. So they can't figure out how to do the study because nobody's going to want to volunteer for bland food for 5 years.
Oh, no. Nobody in this house, that's for sure.
And so they want to do it. Guess with who? You can guess who they want to do the study on. Prisoners.
Oh, no. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That's always our guinea pig when we run out of, options.
Yeah.
Or the prison population. And, but they still can't figure it out because let's say one group, it has reduced salt. Then that doesn't preclude them from using the commissary and buying a bag of Doritos.
Right. Yeah.
So,
and I also
know.
think, that because I think about the studies or things I've heard about MSG and how in certain cuisines, like when you're like in Thailand, for example, like the MSG is really important to have there. And really all it is an isolated, like a sodium, protein or whatever that's in the umami flavor. So like people get all hung up thinking it's like some chemical. It's like not. And, so in an article I was reading about that and about how like MSG gets a bad rap, they were saying that it's very important in places where it's really hot and you're like sweating a lot, that you need that sodium in the food to like hold on to water.
Right. That makes sense.
And so I wonder if it's more that it's hard to do these studies because some of the variables that we need in order to see the effects, whether they be positive or negative, are more like environmental, and like there are more things going on, and like we have to consider the other variables in there, because you can't really isolate those and then get like what do they call it,
control group.
Yeah, and like causation, not correlation.
Yeah, well, we talked about that too, about how
the golden rule
studies tend to be skewed towards white, sort of upper class, whatever, educated. And then we don't really learn everything we need to learn because it's not representative sample. This is like my mom, who I was talking to about everything that's going on in the world. Mm-hmm. And she's like, everyone I know is loving this. We're returning back to our roots and, working, just eating at home and being with each other. And I'm like, Mom, who are these people? Are they all old?
Right.
And she's like, oh, yeah, they are. I'm like, well, yeah, because they don't have to worry as much about their income, losing their job, taking care of their babies, making sure that their family doesn't get sick. I mean, of course they're fucking happy.
Right.
And
oh, my God.
She looks around the room and sees who's there, takes a poll, and thinks that's a representative sample. And that's sort of what scientists do on a bigger scale.
Yes. Oh, God. And you know what? And when it is so hard, and I think about people who are conducting this research, or even myself when, I was in like my research methods class and trying to, conduct studies and put groups together. It was so hard to get a large like sample size. Mm-hmm. You really do. And you're focused so much on getting, there's often like a limited amount of time that you have to do it in. You're answering to, different like academic, whatever organizations, like if you're getting grants or anything like that. And you don't have like the opportunity to really, I don't know. I can see their like the desperation of some of these researchers who I'm sure like grad students and like,
Yes, I do not think it's intentionally misleading. I think we just don't have a lot of options. And you use what you can. Use
what you can, and that happens to be what's, like... And the people who were in our class were far more willing to participate than when we went out on campus and tried to just went out into the community and tried to get people to respond to surveys and things like that out there. Because, like, if you've tried to get... Like, you've been on the other side of it, when somebody asked me, would you like to participate? I'm like, yes, I will, because I know how hard it is. I know, I was in your shoes once, and so I'll return the favor. But that's it.
Yeah, I mean, and there are consequences, too. Like, let's say we're just talking about prisoners. If you're screwing around with their food, that is currency in prison.
Don't do
food
that.
Food is... something that you can barter, and it controls a lot of power and all of that. So I think that should be taken into consideration. Yeah. But I do hope if they do this study that we find that the more salt, the better.
Yeah, yes, that would be nice. Definitely. What we're just already using that rule in our house. So.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Okay, my next question for you is about the First Lady, not Melania, but just the position of being First Lady.
Yes.
Don't you think it's some bullshit that you have to work your ass off and not make any money at all?
The worst. It's awful. And they're working like, when they're certain women in that role are, it's so dumb.
It's so dumb. There's so much pressure and responsibility placed on these spouses, all of whom have been women thus far. And then also, I was reading this article about it. It was in the Atlantic. It was called, I think, The Politics of Being First Lady.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was the gendered nature of being First Lady. Because it was talking about how their causes, historically, are almost always sort of stereotypically feminine.
Related to the family, in a way.
Yeah, like education, healthcare, eating better, even like... Melania Trump's campaign of like non-bullying and like helping kids.
Oh, yeah.
It's all just sort of like feminine ideology. And I don't know. I find it really weird that we expect so much from these people who are not, they're not public servants.
Yeah. I do think it's one of those jobs that, like all of politics, where it's, there's a name for it too, where it's like not just the role of the person, like how do I describe it? Where the wife by default has a job because the man is in this role.
Yeah.
Like they're like the schmoozer, or they and for a while I was in that kind of position where like part of my role is in being, married to who I was married to. It was that I had to, entertain people at events and schmooze.
Yeah, you make a really good point, because this certainly is not limited to just the president's wife.
Yeah, there's a name for those kind of jobs, though. And I remember talking about this in like a women's studies class and being super frustrated, being like, yeah, I know, I'm in one of those.
Well, because whenever Hillary Clinton was the nominee, and people were sort of assuming she would win, there was a lot of talk about what it'll be like to have a first husband or first gentleman or whatever they would call him, and how strange that would be. And I think only then will we start to see how the role is so stupid.
Correct.
Period.
Oh my gosh, you are so right. Because
see how it's like an ornamental, weird, blah, blah, blah.
How is this role handled in other countries, or is it?
That is a great question. I've never thought about that in my life.
Oh my God, Susie, thank you. Anytime you tell me that's a good question, I'm always like, oh, I got Susie's wheels turning. This is great.
Yeah, you did, because I have never given that a thought. Because I wonder.
There's a lot of women who are leaders in other countries.
I think it's probably similar, because I have seen, like when the president and the first lady go to another country and they do that sort of ceremonial handshake bullshit.
Yeah.
There's usually the spouse of whoever there too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I suppose they're expected to. Yeah, it's so dumb.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to dig into that a little bit and see how they even how they get written up and talked about in like the press.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious.
I think that they can do great work, and they can look, how it's all about, what did they wear today?
Yes.
But it can bring attention to worthy causes and stuff. I don't think it's useless. I just think it's an odd setup.
Yeah, it really is.
Okay, next question.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Why this good talk? This was in the New York Times. I'm like dipping into my archives because everything else is about what's going on in the world, and I just want to stick with like what we love.
Yeah.
But this was an article from I think 2018, and it was "Why do we reward bullies?" It's kind of speaking of Melania's campaign, which is about anti-bullying. That we all, as collectively as a society, claim that we are anti-bullying, but in practice, we sort of reward them both on, as we know, reality TV, but also in politics and sometimes celebrities and things like that.
Yeah.
Why do you think we are inconsistent about
I'm
that?
trying to think of where we would reward a bully. I need an example.
Well, Johnny Bananas, number one.
Yeah.
There's an example. Trump is a bully.
There's part of me that thinks, is it one of those, like, you love to hate him?
Oh,
like that we love
for
to be united in not liking somebody, and like we need a villain, we need a
maybe. This was saying that for starters, we all have selective ethics.
Yeah.
That like my bully, I would call a truth teller, but your bully is a horrible person, right? So like the rules are different depending on whether I like the person or I don't. So I think a lot of people might see Trump as a truth teller, whereas if you don't like Trump, you'd see him as a bully.
Totally.
And then it was saying like people are paradoxically attracted to bullies, that we kind of admire the power and we want the security that having a bully in your corner can mean.
And it's like, as long as they're not directing their energy at me, I better be on their side. And maybe it's like a security and safety, like somewhere deep down, it's like a primal thing of like, I gotta laugh at the bully so that they don't so that the bully knows, I'm on your side.
Yeah, I'm on your side.
Can't turn around and come after me. That's kind of
because I was thinking about like Harvey Weinstein, how he was notoriously a bully just outside of the raping. He was also known for having a terrible temper and berating people publicly. But if he loved you, you would feel so good, that this tyrant was endeared to you. Maybe that's part of it too.
Ugh, that's gross.
But it was saying how bullies love an audience, and so they often commit their crimes in front of a lot of people. And when they studied the reactions, 21% sided with the bully, 25% sided with the victim, and then 54% or so were neutral, that people don't want involved.
Well, you might as well say you're siding with the bully if you're neutral. Yeah.
Right, that's true.
Damn.
They just stay quiet.
I like to say I would not. I would, but I also have...
I know you wouldn't.
I also know that that's only because of my own, I can only say that now that my self-worth is higher than it was when I first started on the challenge. Because I think back, everybody remembers this, when I laughed at the plunger thing. That in a way there was like me laughing with kind of like the bullies who were doing that. And I didn't want to be the one picked on. So I kind of just like joined in with the group. And now I think I would have reacted way different.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that you would react differently on that, in that scenario, but also day to day, you're known for sort of piping up.
Yeah, yes, I am known for that.
That's kind of your brand now.
It's my brand, yes.
But like, I've definitely bullied people. It's weird how when you're bullying people, though, at least I didn't know that's what I was doing until everyone then told me later when they watched it on TV.
Yeah, because you're kind of in a self-preservation, like it's bullying is a defense mechanism. Mm-hmm. Bullying is hiding a part of you that feels like not kind of like that self-worth. The self-worth of a bully is low. So they have to use other people and put down other people to make themselves feel better. So
I don't know. I was reading this study like a while ago where it said, people tend to want to believe that bullies are actually really insecure, but they were like, no, they're not. They love themselves. And I was surprised. I don't know about that.
Yeah. It might be like on paper and reported, but eventually I do think that they suffer from the interpersonal relationship issues and like relationship conflicts and things like that down the road. And that's when it becomes a problem.
Right.
When those same tactics, when those same coping strategies or those same attempts to, I don't know, raise your social status or whatever don't work, and you're in an environment where that doesn't work anymore, then you have to, then maybe you start doing some self-reflecting and go, oh, I was a bully.
Right.
Like when you're not on the challenge anymore.
That's for sure.
Right?
But I don't think that should be seen as indicative of your character in general. Sometimes it is, but I don't think it's necessarily the case. That those circumstances are extreme and very different from normal life.
Yes. And you're looking at people at that certain age in their life where they're supposed to be kind of like defending who they are and fighting for their, I don't know. It's just like, you won't see that same kind of, if you put a bunch of people in their 40s in a house together. Nobody's going to bully them.
I wonder. That would be a fun little study.
Yes.
Do you think, this is my last question for the day, do you think people are judging you, like if you're at the grocery store, do you think people are looking in your cart and assessing, I don't know, what type of person you are? I don't have the answer. I'm just curious what you think.
Sometimes yes. Yeah. I don't ever think about it. I don't ever look in people's carts, but the only time where I think I've done this is when I'm going to it's like late night and I'm, stopping by the grocery store for something and I've seen that guy, and it's always a guy who's like in the sweatpants. He looks like he just put down his controller from playing Call of Duty and like hasn't taken a shower in 3 days, and on the what the heck do you call those things where you put your food? On the belt, conveyor belt is like Doritos, Mountain Dew, and like you know, what are those?
Stereotypical.
Yeah, like that, and like ho-hos. And I'd be like, well, your diet is contributing to your depression, and maybe you, like, so that but I see like the sadness there. I don't judge and be like, oh, that person's eating awful food. I like want to intervene and give them my card.
One time I had to buy a pregnancy test, as you do.
Oh, yeah.
And I was feeling very self-conscious about it because, like, you know, it's a private thing and this is a public transaction. And I remember the CVS clerk was like, good luck.
Oh, God.
And I was like,
don't make fucking comments.
Yeah, we have a social contract here. You are supposed to pretend like you don't even notice what I'm buying, and then we carry on about our day. Like, you do not ever comment on what someone buys.
Definitely not. That is like an unspoken rule of the grocery clerk. I don't know. Somewhere. It's got to be in their handbook.
Yes, there's a code of honor.
A code, for sure. And they're seriously violating that. Yeah, don't comment.
I do wonder, though, like if people sort of feel weird about what they put in their cart or if they think there's like an invisibility cloak around it and nobody's noticing.
I always love when like people just hide, like the attempts to hide it. Like, oh, I'm going to go in and buy condoms, but I'm also going to buy like magazines and some, you know, like.
I would totally do that.
Me too. And I've done that. And then I've been like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Just buy the condoms.
It doesn't help.
Yeah. But, you know.
Yeah. All right. No further questions. You're off the hook. I want to thank everybody for buying our merch. It means so much.
Oh,
and
yes.
being our patrons on patreon.com/braincandy, subscribing to the show, telling a friend, tagging us on social. It all helps us. And
we love you guys.
So grateful.
Yes.
All right, everybody. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.